How is good everyone today in celebration of Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe happening on SmackDown Live tonight? I thought I'd go ahead and review the show where they probably had their most infamous match on, which was ROH Fight of the Century. Without wasting any time, let's go ahead and jump right into the video with my overall thoughts and review of the show. Before we get into that, actually, of course, we do have the cover artwork right here with the DVD, which you have a picture of Bryan Danielson and Samoa Joe right there, had a nice face-off before the match. Fight of the Century took place live in Edison, New Jersey on August 5th, 2006, so this match is nearly 12 years old. You open it up, disc is very basic, you know, your basic Ring of Honor disc back in the day where you just had the ROH logo, the cover, and the show title right there. So not much to it. And then you go to the spine, it looks like on your shelf if you have the show, ROH Fight of the Century. And of course, here's a back with some pictures of some of the matches and some of the competitors, as well as Nigel McGuinness right there, as well as the match listing. So if you want to go ahead and read it, you guys can. But my overall thoughts on Fight of the Century. This is a really good show overall. I thought the wrestling was very good for the most part. The main event's great, but you know, not really much to it. It's over 3 hours, mainly due to the main event. But it's a pretty easy show to sit through, even though it's 3 hours. You do sit there and you get through it pretty easily and pretty fast. So no complaints about this show from me. Like I said, I thought it was a fun show overall. And like I said, the most noteworthy thing, of course, is the main event on the show. So let's go to the opening match, which was Colt Cabana versus Rinauro. Not much here, of course. You pretty much just got some comedy from Colt Cabana, which pretty much was the entire match. Him just messing around with Rinauro, as well as Embassy. Embassy gets involved a few times, like Jimmy Rave and whatnot. But Colt Cabana ends up getting the win at the end with the reverse Boston Crab. So Cabana gets the win. Like I said, you know, decent opener, not much to it. You know, Cabana made it good for what it was, just because of the comedy stuff he was doing. So that was that. And then you had the top of the class trophy match: Shane Hagadorn versus Bobby Dempsey. Shane Hagadorn punches him, blocks him in the crossface. That's the match right there. So it was just literally 5 seconds. It was very, very pointless. And supposedly after the match, I will admit I did skip after this match because I just didn't want to sit there and watch it. But supposedly there's like an 8-minute setup for the tag match later on in the show between Homicide and Whitmer taking on Steve Corino and Adam Pearce. So apparently there's a post-match segment, but like I said, I just did not care to watch it, so I kind of just skipped over it, honestly. So that was that. Four-corner survival: Nigel McGuinness versus Christopher Daniels versus Jay Lethal versus Claudio Castagnoli. This is really good here. Nigel definitely shined a lot in this match, as well as Claudio. I thought Claudio definitely looked great. Christopher Daniels got a lot of his stuff in. You know, Jay Lethal kind of was just there for the most part. You know, he once got that hot tag to get in the ring. The crowd did her up for it, but he didn't really showcase as much I'd like him to do. He did do some great spots. He took one hell of a uppercut from Claudio, which I thought was great. And then the finish was very, very hot. It was pretty much everyone just getting their stuff in. Christopher Daniels going for the BME but missing it, and Nigel just absolutely obliterating. It's, you know, those times where you just can't pronounce a word for some reason. That's one of those reasons right now. But basically, Nigel destroys Claudio with a huge lariat to win the match. So it was fun. You know, it wasn't great, but it's definitely a fun, enjoyable match right there. From there, we go to the Ultimate Endurance ROH World Tag Team Title match. Austin Aries and Roderick Strong taking on Mark Briscoe, taking on Irish Airborne, taking on Jack Evans and Matt Sydal. Right from the get-go, everyone was pretty much taking each other out. A lot of just craziness. He had some great high spots from Roddy and Aries, as well as Sydal and Evans. The Briscoes were the first tag team eliminated, which of course the first fall was a pinfall only match. So Briscoes got eliminated by Irish Airborne, which the crowd was very, very pissed off for. And then it came down to a submission match where Roderick Strong just worked on the back of one of the Chris brothers, or Irish Airborne, I should say, which I forgot which one he was working on, but he worked on one of their backs, which led to the Stronghold, which, you know, went to submission right there. And then it kind of end up going to the World Tag Team Title match between Austin Aries and Roderick Strong taking on Jack Evans and Matt Sydal. One complaint about it is I wish Sydal would have got more in-ring time. I feel like the only time he really got into the match was towards the end. Besides that, he didn't really do anything. But I thought the mix of Aries and Strong taking on Evans, Sydal definitely made for the better part of this match. They definitely went out there and had a really good like 5 or 6 minutes or whatever it was they had after Irish Airborne was eliminated. So I definitely would like to see well, I'm speaking as if it's present terms, but hopefully they had a match following up between those two tag teams, because I'd really like to see a match between those two teams going for the tag team titles. But at the end, you know, Sydal went for a shooting star, but, you know, Aries goes the other way, hits a 450 on Sydal, get the 1, 2, 3. So Aries and Strong retain the tag team titles. This was a very fun Ultimate Endurance. I felt like, you know, all the tag teams looked good for the most part, besides the Briscoes getting eliminated. They got eliminated like 5 minutes in the match, so that wasn't, you know, a smart decision if you ask me, but it was a fun sprint. I definitely enjoyed that. From there, I'm going to go to Homicide and BJ Whitmer taking on Steve Corino and Adam Pearce. This pretty much was a brawl. There really wasn't much to it. BJ Whitmer came out to help Homicide because it was pretty much a handicap match, and so they came out, they brawled into the crowd. Homicide and Steve Corino pretty much went at it for the majority of it until the match actually started, which pretty much became a handicap match as Corino and Adam Pearce taking on BJ Whitmer, pretty much isolating him and taking him out until Homicide got the tag. Homicide on ref shot until DQ ended up happening when the Briscoe came out and attacked Homicide. So it was fine. I just felt like I got way too much time, especially considering it got a lot of pre-match brawling. I feel like they spent too much time brawling before the match started to really, use more ring time. But I don't know. I just felt like it was a big segment and didn't really accomplish much besides the Briscoes coming out and taking on Homicide. So that was that. And then, of course, you have KENTA versus Davey Richards, which I thought was a great match right here. The aggression from, KENTA was just spectacular. Just really laying the hits in on Davey Richards. And Davey Richards, he was only like a year or two into the business, I believe, at this time. And he had a great showing against KENTA. I felt like, he had a lot of aggression. He was definitely laying his kicks in as well as KENTA. They're just absolutely, destroying each other with kicks. Had some really guys counters, just back and forth wrestling, and, KENTA really laying stuff in. And I thought the last couple minutes of this match was real great. I thought Davey Richards definitely shined, and of course KENTA got the victory with the go to sleep on Davey. After, Davey tried to counter out of it and end up, just destroying Davey and then hitting a GTS at the end of the follow-up to secure the victory. So KENTA defeats Davey Richards, great match right there. And of course, go to the main event, which was the ROH World Title match. Bryan Danielson taking on Samoa Joe. This was a great match here. It did go 60 minutes, so it went to a time limit draw. 60-minute matches are hard to sit through for me. Well, not hard to sit through. It's hard to invest in because up until the last 10-15 minutes of the match, not going to do a whole bunch, which they didn't. There were a lot of grappling, a lot of rest holds, and a lot of the same stuff, which isn't necessarily bad because they were consistent in what they were doing. So it wasn't to the point where it was like boring, wanting to do something different. They were being consistent, which is good. And the last 10-15 minutes, like I said, were definitely superb, definitely made for this match. Just the crowds get into it a lot more because the match is coming to an end. And just the ending with Samoa Joe, locking in the Coquita clutch, and the countdown for last minute, and Bryan Danielson just suffering. And by the time he was passed out, the match was already over. So the referee couldn't name Samoa Joe the winner because the match ran out of time. So it was good storytelling. A lot of hard kicks and hard chops from Joe. Danielson trying to try to keep up, but just Joe was just destroying Danielson with those chops. And of course Danielson was a heel, so he was kind of playing the chicken shit heel a little bit by continuously rolling out of the ring to get away from Joe. But he brought the fight to Joe. It got to the point where he was even hitting those elbows in to knock Joe out, but Joe was able to fight out of it. Hit on muscle busters for a near fall when at the end of the match before, Danielson put his foot on the rope to break it up. But, yeah, that was great stuff. Like I said, it wasn't a must-see, blow-away match. I haven't seen the other matches, really, in ROH. I know they had, like, 2 or 3 more matches before and after this. But this is definitely the most notable match that ended in a time limit draw. So, it's a great match. Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing too blow-away to see. But of course after the match, they had the whole setup with, the Briscoes coming out and attacking Samoa Joe, which led to Homicide coming out to save him, and of course setting up that tag match like Glory Bound or 5 Night 2. So, yeah, it definitely was a great match, but, not a blow-away match or must-sees. But, yeah, ROH Fight of the Century, overall, like I said, it's a pretty damn good fun show. Nothing really must-see, even the match right here. I would recommend seeing it, but it's not a blow away. There are other matches, like I think at the Midnight Express reunion show, and they had a non-title match where it was no DQ sometime later after this match. Which honestly, those matches probably are better than this one, but it was still great. The crowds were hot for it, especially towards the end of the match, and it's a fun show overall. Like I said, it's over 3 hours, mainly due to the main event going over 60 minutes, but everything else was fine. The 4 Corner Survival was really fun. The Ultimate Endurance was, a really good time as well, and KENTA Davey Richards, tore the house down. I had a really good physical fight as well. So yeah, that is my review for ROH Fight of the Century. Like I said, tonight Daniel Bryan takes on Samoa Joe for the first time ever in WWE and SmackDown Live. So I'm very, very excited for that. That was the main premise or the main reason why I even wanted to watch the show back was to get excited to see this match again. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please leave a like below. And until next time, I'll see you guys there. Thank you guys for watching the video.